2022 for Ferrari was a very poor season when you look at how the season started for them, with them having the fastest car. But as you probably already know, the team had many issues that hurt their chance of winning the championship, as Red Bull walked away with it, as Ferrari did not put up a fight in the second half of the season. They would finish P2 in the championship, which is an improvement, but they had so many issues with the car and the people in the team. They would sack Mattia Binotto as soon as the 2022 season ended and replace him with Fred Vasseur. They looked to fix the engine issues with the car, and they seemed confident that they had made a step forward closer to Red Bull. However, so far this season, this has looked far from the truth, and they have taken a massive step back, and now they seem to be the fourth fastest team, maybe? In today's video, we're going to talk all about Ferrari, first off about the car and how the engine could have gotten worse with Leclerc having to take a penalty in just the second race of the season, how Aston Martin and even Mercedes could have taken a step forward ahead of them, and did they even learn from the mistakes that were made in 2022? Let's get right into it. To start off with, we are going to talk about the reasoning why you clicked on this video, and that, of course, the possibility of Ferrari maybe being the fourth fastest team. Coming into this season, we and a lot of fans talked about the changes Ferrari needed to make to beat Red Bull. But it seems like they haven't done anything to make this year's car any closer to winning a championship. It kind of looks like they've taken a step backwards from where they were at this point last season, where they were fighting for wins till the last lap in Saudi Arabia. It came out that they were a whole 7/10 slower than in the race at the 2022 race in Saudi, which shows how they have just got things wrong over the winter. They've taken a step backwards, that's for sure. And many questions are being asked of Ferrari surrounding their engines too, as they look even worse than they were in 2022. With Red Bull being so far clear of the rest of the grid, it looks like it'll be a three-way battle for who takes P2 in the constructors' standings. This is out of Aston Martin, Mercedes, and of course everyone's favourite team, Ferrari. So far this season, Aston Martin is the only team out of this three who have taken the final podium positions, with both times them being with Fernando Alonso. Mercedes were ahead of Ferrari in Saudi Arabia and showed a lot better race pace, which is for sure in the long runs. It does have to be said that we are very early in the season, and every team will have upgrades in the pipeline that could change the order massively. But after the evidence we have seen so far, they are around the same pace as the Mercedes as the third quickest team. With the pure lack of reliability that we've seen so far, Ferrari could easily finish P4 in the standings this year due to the teams above them just having better engines that don't break after the first couple of races of the season. After Baku, once we see what everyone brings to the track regarding upgrades, we will then see what the order could be for the rest of the season. But until then, we can only speculate what the order really is within the sport. What are your thoughts about Ferrari? Are they the fourth fastest team, or will they improve more and more as time goes on? Or will they have to be put their focus on their 2024 car instead? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Moving on to our next topic, and that's how Aston Martin and Mercedes may have taken a step over Ferrari as they have fallen backwards. How can this happen? How on earth can a team get slower over the winter? Well, the simple answer is that in the factory, the team may take a different philosophy on the car, which may make a certain aspect better, but the overall performance may go down. Ferrari had a solid car last year, with them taking the most pole positions over the season, showing how they had a very quick car over a single lap. But in the race, they were unable to convert this performance. Both Aston Martin and Mercedes both look like their cars are much stronger in the race than they were in qualifying over a single lap. Mercedes haven't really made any big strides that they would have hoped for in the coming into this year, but they are still somewhat ahead of the Ferrari. They know what the problem is with their car, and they are set to change it in the coming rounds once they bring in their first major upgrade package, which could put them clear of Ferrari. This contrasts massively with the Scuderia, who simply do not know what has gone wrong with the development over the winter. Their goal was to win the World Championship, as we heard many times with Charles Leclerc, but already he knows that this is already out of his hands. The hard part for Ferrari is going back to the factory and looking at themselves and seeing what exactly did they get wrong and then going to fix that. Whether they're going to be more towards the Red Bull side of things like Mercedes has hinted at, or will they try and fix the car that they have now if they believe that this is the right move? When you look at Aston Martin, on the other hand, they are delighted with their car as they have got it spot on and are clearly the second fastest team. They did not expect to go from the 7th fastest car last year to now the 2nd fastest car, and I don't think any of us fans saw this coming. So this has put a spanner in the works as the team expected that they would maybe only have one close competitor in Mercedes. But now you have the big green machine with Fernando Alonso, who is up there fighting for podiums every race. Overall, it is fair to say that Ferrari has fallen behind both Mercedes power cars, but will they be able to recover and be in the fight for P2 in the standings? I guess we'll have to find out as the season goes on. On to our final topic of this video, and that is, have Ferrari actually learned anything from the mistakes they made in 2022? Well, one of the mistakes that the team made was having Mattia Binotto as their team principal, and they got rid of him pretty soon after the season ended. They replaced him with the veteran Fred Vasseur, who has been very honest so far compared to Binotto's heavily criticised no-blame policy, so that is something that they have learned. However, as we talked about earlier, the two main problems with the F175 were how bad the tyre wear was on it. This year, it looks like they may have made little improvements, but Mercedes and Red Bull are ahead of them in this field. So they have not improved something that had to be changed, that's for certain. Another major issue of last year's car was how bad the engine was and how it would lose them massive points when they needed them the most. Already we have seen this season that somehow this issue has got worse, with Leclerc DNFing in the first round in Bahrain, and then in Saudi Arabia he had to take a 10-place grid penalty, which is very alarming. To have to take any penalty this early on in the season is very bad and will hurt them as the season goes on. But you also have to feel for Haas and Alfa Romeo, who have Ferrari engines in their cars, so they will be asking questions and wanting answers to see if their engine improves. It is too early in the season to see if Ferrari make a big strategy error over the radio. We saw that Leclerc was very annoyed at his race engineer for telling him information too late. Overall, this year will be a tough one for all Ferrari fans, as they look like they could finish P4 in the standings if they make no changes. Where do you see Ferrari finishing in the Constructors' Championships this year? Make sure to drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure that you like the video and subscribe to watch more videos just like this one.